Scott Ritter, who spent a good chunk of 2024 sounding the alarm about President Biden's policies in the Middle East and Ukraine, has kicked off this year's show with a chilling warning. He's predicting what he calls a looming war between Iran and Israel in the coming months. Now, this doesn't exactly come as a shock. Both nations have been circling each other for years, but it seems like the tension is about to boil over. The sheer volume of military activity in both countries has got independent observers raising their eyebrows. Israel's playbook hasn't changed much over the years. It wants to cripple Iran's military power, and if history's any guide, it's not shy about using force to deal with adversaries in the region. Iran, on the other hand, is focused on building its defenses against what it sees as a relentless campaign by the US and its Gulf allies, their strategy and nuclear deterrent, much like North Korea's. Ritter, a former United Nations weapons inspector, has warned that any attempt to strike Iran's nuclear facilities would spell disaster, not just for the region, but for the whole world. He's painting a picture of the Middle East unraveling and America's economic interest in the area going up in flames. So as things stand, it's not just saber rattling anymore. Both nations seem to be digging in their heels, and if Ritter's prediction is correct, we might be in for a very messy showdown sooner rather than later.
There's a couple things. I think the most immediate problem facing Israel and the United States, and the reason why I bring that up is, frankly, we're in an American-centric world right now where the only thing that matters is what matters to America. And Israel is what matters to America in the Middle East. But we're also smart enough, Trump is smart enough to know that an Israeli-American attack on Iran would lead to disastrous, consequences in terms of Iran, because we can't knock Iran out. So Iran would retaliate. The retaliation would be the destruction of Middle East energy resources, which would throw the world into an economic crisis that is the last thing Trump needs when he's trying to build Fortress America. But Trump also has been given a gift, and that gift is the collapse of the government of Bashar al-Assad and what that's done to the axis of resistance and such. Doesn't mean the fighting's over. I mean, we'll find out what's going to happen to Hezbollah when the ceasefire that was negotiated with the Israelis in November expires this month. 60 days. Israel said, we're not withdrawing from southern Lebanon. I think you're going to see Hezbollah become a resistance movement whose function is to evict Israel from Lebanese territory, and Israel is going to be trapped in a conflict in southern Lebanon that they can't win. But this time, Hezbollah won't be backed by Iran. The umbilical has been cut, and Iran is looking to create its own fortress Iran. You're going to see a lot of consolidation of power around as people seek to redefine power structures. Iran on January 17th, 3 days before Trump becomes president, will sign a strategic agreement with Russia that will be a game changer. Trump will have to take that into consideration for anything he does, to include the potential of an attack on Iran. But the Iranians have also signaled they're ready to have negotiations. Trump's looking for a deal. He's not looking for a war. He's looking for a deal. And now you have an Iranian president who says, yeah, we'd like a deal too. We're not looking for a war. According to statements, according to the Turkish foreign minister, who apparently had conversations with the new Iranian president, the president said, we don't want to fight with Israel. We don't want to fight with the United States. We're not looking for confrontation. We're looking for, normalized relations. Maybe not with Israel, but we're not looking for war. But we're looking for, BRICS and doing all this stuff. But we also want to work with the West. We're not totally jumping over to BRICS. We'd like to work with the West, and we're willing to negotiate. And the implication is the only thing to negotiate that they can negotiate was their nuclear program. So I think you're going to see Trump, rather than coming in trying to start a war with Iran, Trump's going to come in and try and negotiate away a war. And the Iranians, I think, are going to work with him. And Trump will have to be somewhat constrained. For instance, in the past, the United States has linked Iran's nuclear program with their ballistic missile program because the Israelis have told us to do so. But Iran's not going to give up their ballistic missile program. That is their strategic deterrence, which is okay as long as they don't have nuclear weapons on board. So I think you're going to see a good faith effort on the part of the United States to negotiate a deal with Iran to bring an end to Iran's nuclear weapons potential. And I think the Iranians are ready for that deal.
It's the same cat and mouse game we've been seeing for years, only with a few more twists and turns to keep everyone on edge. As Ritter sees it, these threats and countermeasures aren't just about military posturing. They're part of a much bigger game where every move carries the potential for something far more explosive. Let's all pray for a de-escalation in the region for the sake of us all. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe. Peace.